Have you ever had a day where you're running around from one task to another, constantly busy, but at the end of it, you realize you didn't actually move your life or your business forward? Maybe your inbox is cleared, your bills are paid, and you answered all the little messages, but that big dream you wanted to work on, it's still waiting. You see, we live in a world where being busy has become a badge of honor. But here's the truth. Busyness is not the same as productivity, and it's definitely not the same as freedom. Dan Martell, entrepreneur, coach, and angel investor, knows this better than anyone. In his book, Buy Back Your Time, he introduces a powerful idea. Don't hire to grow your business, hire to buy back your time. And that single shift changes everything. Because when you learn how to buy back your time, you stop trading your most precious resource, your hours, for low-value tasks. Instead, you start designing a life where you can focus on what actually matters, creating, leading, and living with freedom. So today, let's walk through the lessons of Buy Back Your Time. And I promise you, this isn't just theory. We'll dive into Martell's real stories, case studies from the entrepreneurs he's coached, and simple frameworks you can use right now. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly how you can reclaim hours of your life without losing control of your business. Ready? Let's jump in. Dan Martell begins Buy Back Your Time with an idea that feels almost upside down at first. He says, you don't build a business so one day you can finally buy back your time. You buy back your time now so you can build the business. Think about that for a second. Most of us live with the opposite belief. We think, once I'm successful, once my business is bigger, once I hit that next revenue goal, then I'll finally have time to breathe, to rest, to enjoy my life. But Martell flips that completely. He says, no. If you don't reclaim your time now, you'll never reach that future. You'll just keep running faster on a treadmill that never stops. He calls this the buyback principle. So what does it mean in practice? Imagine this. You're running your business and you've got tasks stacked on your plate. Some of them make you feel alive, like working directly with your best clients or brainstorming the next product idea or closing a big deal. Those are your 50-an-hour tasks. But then there are the other tasks, the ones you dread: booking flights, scheduling meetings, replying to endless low-priority emails, reconciling invoices, updating spreadsheets. Sure, they're necessary, but they're also 15-an-hour tasks. And here's the problem. If you're spending 10 hours a week doing those things, that's 10 hours you're stealing from yourself. 10 hours you could be spending on your best work, the work that actually grows your business, the work that excites you, the work that only you can do. Now, here's where Martell makes it simple but powerful. If you pay someone $15 an hour to handle those low-value tasks, you're not losing money. You're buying back your time. And with that time, you're reinvesting it into higher-value activities. It's like trading a handful of coins for gold. This is what the buyback principle is all about. Spending money strategically, not just to grow revenue, but to reclaim your energy, your focus, and your life. Martell isn't just preaching theory here. He lived this lesson the hard way. In fact, his first two companies taught him a brutal truth about doing everything yourself. In his first company, he burned out and watched the business collapse. He worked long hours, believed no one else could do the job as well as he could, and refused to delegate. The result? Total failure. In his second company, things looked more promising. The business was growing, opportunities were everywhere, and he was grinding harder than ever. But instead of feeling successful, he was miserable. He was working 100-hour weeks, never seeing family, constantly exhausted, and filled with resentment toward the very company he had built. And this is where Martell makes a point that should hit all of us. If you hate your calendar, you'll eventually hate your business. Your calendar is a mirror. It reflects your life back to you. Look at it closely. Is it filled with energy-draining tasks you dread? Or is it packed with things that actually excite you, give you energy, and move you closer to your vision? When Martell finally embraced the buyback principle, when he hired not just to grow the business, but to protect his time, everything shifted. He wasn't just scaling revenue, he was scaling his freedom. He had more energy, more creativity, more presence for the people he loved, and yes, more business success too. Because here's the truth. When you're stuck in the weeds of low-value tasks, you're not just wasting time. You're robbing yourself of the chance to create the future you want. But when you buy back your time, you're not just outsourcing chores, you're upgrading your life. So ask yourself this. If you look at your week, how many hours are filled with things that drain you? And how many are filled with things that light you up? If that ratio feels off, maybe it's time to apply the buyback principle. Now, how do you actually know what's worth outsourcing? Martell gives us a simple formula, the buyback rate, or BBR. Here's how it works. Take your annual income, let's say $100, divide by 2,000 hours, roughly the number of hours in a working year. That's your hourly rate, in this case, $50 an hour. Now divide that by 4. That's your buyback rate. So So if your buyback rate is $12.50 an hour, it means any task you're doing that you could pay someone $12.50 an hour or less to handle, you should not be doing. This is huge because it gives you an objective way to decide, is this task really worth my time? Martell himself used this to justify hiring his first assistant. He realized he was wasting hours booking travel, answering emails, and organizing files, all below his buyback rate. Once he outsourced, his productivity and joy skyrocketed. Think about your own life. How many hours a week do you spend on things you could outsource? Laundry, errands, admin work, editing videos, scheduling posts. The buyback rate shows you exactly when it makes sense to pay someone else so you can focus on your highest value work. But before you outsource, you need to know where your time is actually going. Martell introduces the time and energy audit. For 2 weeks, you track everything you do, and then you classify each task into one of 4 buckets, using what he calls the 4D framework. Delete, tasks that don't need to be done at all. Example, spending 30 minutes formatting an email that no one will notice. Delegate, tasks that need to be done, but not by you. Example, scheduling meetings, filing paperwork. Automate, tasks that can be systemized with software. Example, using Calendly for scheduling or Zapier for workflows. Do, the tasks only you can do, the high-value, high-joy work that moves the needle. Martell tells the story of a CEO he coached who was drowning in emails. After the time audit, he realized 70% of his inbox could be handled by an assistant with pre-written templates. Once delegated, he saved over 10 hours a week. And here's the kicker. Those 10 hours gave him the bandwidth to land $1 million deal. That's the power of the time audit. You stop blindly working harder and instead make strategic decisions about your energy. Okay, now that you know what to outsource, how do you do it without chaos? Martell introduces something he calls the replacement ladder. Think of it like climbing steps. Step 1, buy back household tasks. Hire cleaners, grocery delivery, or childcare if possible. Free your personal life first. Step 2, buy back administrative tasks. Hire a virtual assistant for scheduling, inbox management, and travel. Step 3, buy back specialized roles. Bring in bookkeepers, designers, or editors. Step 4, buy back leadership. Eventually hire managers and executives who can run parts of the business. Martell shares a personal example. At one point, he realized he was spending hours every week cleaning his house. For a long time, he resisted hiring help because it felt luxurious. But once he did, not only did he reclaim his time, his relationship with his family improved because he wasn't coming home drained from chores. The replacement ladder teaches us that buying back time isn't selfish. It's smart. It lets you show up better in every area of life. Now, here's something that will sound familiar to anyone who's tried to grow a business. You hit a pain line. The pain line is that breaking point where you're so busy, so overloaded that you can't possibly take on more work, but you're too scared to let go of control. Martell describes how before he sold one of his companies, he hit a pain line himself. He was running every meeting, approving every decision, and burning out. His fear was that if he handed things off, they wouldn't be done right. But he learned this. The pain line is actually your signal. It's telling you you've hit the limit of what you can do alone. The only way forward is to buy back time, delegate, automate, and trust others. Every entrepreneur hits the pain line. The disciplined ones use it as a trigger to grow. Once you've bought back time, what do you actually do with it? Martell suggests designing what he calls a dream calendar. This is where you don't just fill your days with random tasks. You intentionally schedule your highest value, most fulfilling activities first. For Martell, that meant putting workouts, family dinners, and creative work into his calendar before anything else. Business meetings came second. Why? Because if you don't design your calendar, someone else will. Think of it like this. Your calendar is the blueprint of your life. If it's full of things that drain you, no wonder you feel stuck. But if it's full of things that energize you, you'll actually look forward to each day. Martell's message is clear. Freedom isn't the absence of a schedule. It's having a schedule you love. The deeper lesson of buy back your time is this. Buying back your time isn't just about productivity. It's about identity. When you free yourself from tasks that drain you, you're no longer trapped in the role of operator. You get to step into the role of creator, leader, or even simply human being who enjoys life. Martell calls this the buyback lifestyle, where your time aligns with your values. He shares how, after restructuring his life and business, he finally had time to coach other entrepreneurs, invest in startups, and still be fully present with his family. That's real freedom, and that's the goal. Not to do more, but to live better. So what's the real gift of buy back your time? It's this. Time is the only resource you can't get back. Money comes and goes. Businesses rise and fall. But the hours of your life, once they're gone forever. Dan Martell's book isn't about outsourcing just for efficiency. It's about designing a life where your best energy is spent on the things that matter most. Your creativity, your relationships, your purpose. The buyback principle teaches us to stop asking, how can I do more, and start asking, what can I stop doing? So let me leave you with a challenge. Look at your calendar this week. Ask yourself, which which tasks drain me and which tasks light me up. And then take one step to buy back even 1 hour of your time. Because when you buy back your time, you're not just building a business, you're building a life. If this summary gave you something to think about, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more deep dive book summaries, and share it with someone you know who feels trapped in busyness. Because freedom isn't something you wait for, it's something you design 1 hour at a time.